Danger, Dr. Danfield.
Mr. James Smith, you will please rise.
Yes, Your Honor.
Before I pass sentence, have you anything more to say? Anything in your own defense?
Only one thing, Your Honor. I'm innocent.
The facts speak differently, Mr. Smith. The evidence against you is overwhelming. The evidence given at this trial conclusively proves that you shot your partner down in cold blood, with full and complete deliberation, premeditation, and malice aforethought. I, therefore, by the powers vested in me by the Constitution of the United States of America, sentence you to be hanged by the neck until you are dead. May God have mercy on your soul.
But I'm innocent, I tell you. Innocent! Innocent! Dr. Daniel Danfield, student of crime psychology, has many times provided the police with a solution to a baffling crime. As usual, there's an interesting case for the doctor today. We'll call it Madmen Strike Swiftly. Rusty and I were glad to come down, Warden. What's on your mind?
It's about James Smith. He's due to be hanged at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
James Smith? James Smith? I don't believe I remember the case. Do you, Rusty?
Me neither.
Well, you know more of a fear in these cases. But I don't know about this one. I don't know.
Well, just the fact that you have your doubts, Warden, is very interesting. Go on, please tell me more.
Well, I have nothing to go on except a hunch. My mind tells me that Smith is guilty as the devil. The evidence against him was almost